Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of Sun Devil Learning Labs. This is Kindergarten English Language Arts. My name is Miss Kopp. I will be guiding you through this lesson today. Thank you so much, like I said, for tuning in. If you watched our week 1 programming, thank you for coming back. If you're just tuning in for the first time, don't you worry. We go through a regular flow and schedule, so you'll get used to it very quickly. And thanks for joining in. Let me get my screen shared with you guys here so we can get into our lesson and what we're really going to be doing today. Today we're working on reading and writing foundations. So what do we need to know to become really, really great readers and writers? So like I said, my name is Miss Kopp. Kopp, that is me. And this is week 2, day 1 of Sun Devil Learning Labs Kindergarten English program. So let's get going. Thanks for being here. First up, like always, we have our agenda. So what are we going to be doing today? What are we going to get into during this lesson? First, we're going to have some letter recognition. That means which letters are which letters? Can we tell which letters sound like which letters? What do they look like? We're going to warm up our listening ears for our read aloud of this really amazing book about learning to write. It's called The Squiggly Story, and I think you guys will love it. We'll do a little hand and finger workout to get us ready for our time to draw, and then we'll go through some activities you can do at home with maybe some brothers or sisters, auntie, uncle, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, anybody that's around that you can talk to. So our materials over here on the right side of the page in green, these are our materials. What do we need to get through this lesson today? So first of all, you're going to need any book. So I have, for example, my favorite book that I have at my house, my favorite book at home, which is Mango, Abuela, and Me. So any book that you have that is available to you is perfect. It could be a cookbook or a comic book or a chapter book or a picture book. Any kind of book you can find is wonderful. So any book you can find. We're also going to need for our drawing portion, we will need crayons and paper. So if you don't have crayons, that's totally okay. I don't have crayons at home either. I only have these markers. So if you have markers, if you have colored pencils, if you have chalk, whatever it is you're working with, just something that you can make markings on paper with. And then the last thing you're going to need is something to hang a piece of paper up by. So you see how I have my piece of paper here? It's hanging vertically. It's hanging up and down vertically. We want maybe some tape, like I said, maybe a thumbtack. If you don't have something available so you can secure your paper to hang up, you can just hold it against the wall while you write. Or worst case scenario, you just write on your table flat like normal, and that's totally fine too. We just want to do it up and down vertical this way to give your shoulders and your wrists and your arm an extra little workout that they don't usually get when you're writing, because like we said, you're usually writing horizontal like this, not vertical like this, right? So that's the last material you'll need today, is maybe something to hang a piece of paper up by. So the next slide is our big fancy words for basically what do the people in charge think you need to know for kindergarten. So I'll just summarize this for you guys, give you a little idea of what we're talking about today, what we're going to work through. You guys will be able to identify different sounds, so tell me about different things you hear. We're going to work on using the right grip on our writing utensil, called the tripod grip. We were working on that during week 1, and we're going to keep working on it throughout the rest of this program because it's that important. So we'll be talking about that grip. We'll be talking about different parts of a story, like who are the characters of a story, the people in the story, what's the setting of a story, where does it happen, what time does it happen. And we'll also go through how to use a book. That's what our book is going to be used for, is talking through how we use a book, where's the cover, where's the title, and all that good stuff. So with all that stuff out of the way, now it's time for the fun stuff. Now it's time to do our ABC song. So if you would like to sing with me, please feel free to join in. If you don't know the song, please feel free to rewind the video a few times if you would like to hear it a few times and then try to join in with us. And an extra little challenge is, as we're singing our ABC song, try pointing at each letter as we sing it on your screen. Don't actually touch your screen. You don't want to hurt the computers. Just hover over it without actually touching it and point to each letter as we sing. You'll see that each letter actually gets a little colored box around it as we're singing it. So hopefully that will help guide you a little bit, okay? So let me get a little sip of my water here before I start singing. Hopefully it helps my singing voice to be its best today. And anytime I take a drink of water, you guys should definitely take a drink as well. If you have some water near you, it's super important to stay hydrated. So if you see me doing it, you should take a sip also. So with that, let us begin our ABC song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Nice job, everybody. Like I said, if you don't know the song, feel free to rewind it or just keep tuning into our episodes because we do it every single day, so you'll definitely catch on to it soon. So there are our ABCs. After our ABCs, we always do our letter of the day. So our letter for the day today is the letter N. N. You can see it in the bottom center of your screen right here. N. I'm trying out this drawing tool today. I don't know how well it will work out, but there is our uppercase N, our lowercase n, and then above that you can see we have our picture of what? It's something that starts with the letter N. If you have a partner or someone with you that you can talk to, feel free, pause the video right now. What is this picture of? What is this called? It's something that starts with an N. Or if you don't have anyone to talk to, just think it in your head. I'm thinking nest. It's a nest, like a bird's nest. That's where birds live. They make those themselves and they live in there. So pretty amazing stuff, right? That birds can put all that together. So that is our nest. Nest starts with N. Over here on the left side of our page, you can see this picture of this hand, right? This hand is doing something pretty amazing right now. It's actually speaking a language called sign language. So sign language is a way that people who have trouble hearing, or people who don't have trouble hearing, but it's really important for people who have trouble hearing. That's the only way they can communicate. They can't hear what we're saying, right? They can't hear my voice or hear what I'm saying. So they use the senses they do have. They can see still. Most people can still see, so they use this language that's all about their hands and all about seeing. So how you make an N in sign language, this is actually the picture of what to do with your hands. So let me bring it full screen for just a moment, and I will show you guys how to make an N. We start with our hand all the way out with our fingers spread out wide, and then we cross our thumb over. Your thumb's gonna come in between your fingers, in between your middle and your ring finger. So you're gonna curl your fingers down and get your thumb look right in the middle. And that, when you hold it like this, that is how you say N in sign language. So pretty amazing that people are able to make these different gestures with their hands and understand that's how they speak. They have a whole language that's based off of using their hands. So that, my friends, is how we make an N in sign language. So let me get my screen back on here for us. I know I have a question about what are some other words that start with N? Take a moment, like I said, if you have a partner, someone to talk to, take a moment, stop the video, come up with what are 3 words that start with N, that N sound, 3 words. I'm gonna think of my own 3 words also. Okay, I've got one. What about net? A net. Maybe it's of a soccer goal, the net that's in the back. Maybe it's a net you use to catch bugs. Net. What's another N? N word, N sound. What about nose? Nose, your nose, right? Nose starts with N. N. Yeah, nose. What about one more? One more N. No. The word no. No, I'm not getting out of bed. No, I don't want to eat my vegetables. No, I'm not going to go for a run today. No is a word we hear. It's a probably pretty frequent word we use, right? That starts with N, no. So I have some more practice on the next slide for us. More practice with the letter N. So if there's someone near you that's good with technology that knows how to screenshot, I have included the instructions right here on the upper left corner of the screen. These screenshot instructions. Screenshot this page. And you can your computer will take a picture of this whole screen. And you can actually print that picture out, and then you can write on it with crayons, markers, whatever you want, so that you can trace these N's. You can trace the uppercase, the lowercase, and then you draw it yourself freehand on these blank lines. Oops. Sorry, clicked ahead, my mistake. So feel free, like I said, please feel free to screenshot this page. It's here for you to use for your practice. If you don't have the ability to screenshot it, another choice is to use your finger like we were doing before. Don't quite touch the screen, just hover over the screen and trace the letter N on the right side of the page here. You can trace the uppercase and then trace the lowercase and get some practice that way as well. So that is our letter of the day today, N, letter of the day. So today, since we're talking about our letters, I wanted to talk about something really cool that we can do with letters. It's called blending. Blending. That basically means just smushing the sounds together. Instead of saying N, O, N, N, O, O, N, O, I would blend them, put them together, no. Right? So we had 2 sounds and we blended them together. So we're going to practice some of these today, and it's going to be a pretty easy practice. It's going to be all about using your listening ears while I will say some words slowly, I'll say the sounds slowly. And when I'm done talking, you try to say the sounds fast and all together. So I will give you an example. Here's our example. I would say S, A, S, A. Then you would try to say it faster and put the 2 sounds together. S, A, say, say. Say, that's a word. I will say some sounds. That's the word say, right? So let's do one. I won't put them together for you right away. I'll give you a couple times to try on your own. So our first one, our first blend. N, O, N, O. What are those 2 sounds when you put them all together? What does it sound like when you say them fast? N, O, N, O. Try saying it yourself. Go ahead. N, O, no. no, no, no. Let's try another one. This one's a little bit tricky. B, a, d, b, a, d. Try putting it together and say it a little faster. B, a, d, bad, b, bad, 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 right? Bad. So when we blend those sounds together, when we put them all together and blend them, bad, bad, bad. That's when we get a whole word. Let's do two more. What about n, n, n? What are those sounds when you put them all together and say them fast? Sun, 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 right. And our last one, this is our trickiest one yet. Ready? Sh, sh, sh. When you put all three of those sounds together, what word does it make? Ish, ish, fish, fish. So when you blend sounds together, that's when we get whole words. And words are what we understand, right? We don't understand just the one sound. We need the whole word to understand. So we'll keep practicing that blending all week long and get some more practice working on those skills. Don't you worry about it. So now we're talking about our word of the week. Last week, our word of the week was A. This week, our word of the week is. Is. Our word of the week is. So you can see the word right here. This is what it looks like. This is what the sound is looks like. Is. Here's the word used in a sentence, for example. The bird is flying. My dog is sleeping. My cat is fluffy. All true. So here's an extra little bonus. I'm going to cover up the word and see if you can remember. What does it look like? What does that sound? Is. Close your eyes and try to picture, what does the sound is look like? I hope you're picturing something like this, right? We've got our I-S, is. Beautiful. So we'll keep working on that also throughout the rest of week 2. We'll be talking about that word of the week. So now we're getting into our read aloud time. Our little warm up for our read aloud is talking about concepts of print. This just means, do you guys know how to use a book? Do you know how to hold it and where the author is and all that good information, where to find it? So I mentioned in the beginning to get out any book you can find, any book, a comic book, a cookbook, a picture book, anything you have will be perfect. I have Mango, Abuela, and Me. So we're going to talk about concepts of print for just a moment. Please feel free to pause the video for a second if you need to grab your book for a moment. Excuse me. Let me come onto full screen for a moment so you can see me big. There we go. So today we're talking about Mango, Abuela, and Me. We're just going to be looking at some of the important information we see in a book. So for example, this is the first thing we usually see about a book, this whole front page. This is called a front cover. Front cover. This is the front cover. Got a lot of important information on here, so it's definitely good to take a nice long look at all the information on the front cover. For example, this big words up here at the top. Does anybody have an idea what that might be? Take a moment and say to a partner or someone around you, what do you think these large words at the top of our cover, front cover of our book are? What do you think those words are? I would call them the title. The title, that means the name of our book, the title of our book. And the title is Mango, Abuela, and Me. Abuela means grandma in Spanish. It looks like this is the abuela, right? She's got her gray hair, so we know she's a little bit older. This is probably her granddaughter, right? And it looks like, I don't want to spoil the book, but I think this bird is named Mango because it looks like a mango, right? So the title is super important because look at all that information I just found out from reading these couple of words in the title, right? So it's really important to take a good look at the front cover of our book. It also has some other information. Down here I have 2 names. Go ahead and take a moment, tell somebody around you, what do you think the names on the cover of the book are? What are the names on the cover of the book? They're also very important, let me tell you. They are good, important information. So this top name right here, Meg Medina, that is the author of this book. That means Meg Medina wrote this book. She wrote the words for this book, Meg Medina. Thank you, Meg. And then right underneath Meg, you can see there's another name also, right? And it says illustrated by Angela Dominguez. Oh, my finger's covering it. I'm sorry. There we go. Angela Dominguez. So illustrated, that means that's the person who's making the illustrations. So that's the person who's creating the photos and the images that are going into the book, the illustrator. So Angela Dominguez made all the photos for this book. So another important part of our book is the back cover. Sometimes there's important information on here, maybe a summary, something else that you can use during reading the book, or maybe other books that are related to it. So the back cover has some important information on it also. And then this little bit right here, this has a special name. Does anybody know what it is? Go ahead, feel free to share with whoever's next to you. What is this called? This piece of the book. This is called the spine of a book. The spine, just like our spines and our backs, this spine of the book holds it together. It's what keeps all the pages from falling out after one another, right? It's the spine of the book. So with whatever book you have at home, pause the video for a moment, take a second and point out on your book, where's the front cover? Look at all the information on the front cover. Where's the title? Who is the author? And even if you can't read the author's name, at least find the words on the cover that you think are the author's name. Then maybe point out the spine of your book. Run your fingers along the spine of the book, what holds the book together. So go ahead and, like I said, pause the video if you would like. Take a moment to do that with your book at home. Identify all those pieces of it. It's very important. Like I said, all that information is really, really important stuff that we see in our books. So with that, let's get into our read aloud for today, which, like I said, is one of my favorite stories. It's about learning to write, and he is just having a great time doing it. So I would love for my students to see this story and feel a little inspired by it. So let me first take a sip of my water. You should as well. I need to get my reading voice ready. So, a squiggly story, that is our title of our story. This is our front cover, a picture of our front cover. Here's our title, A Squiggly Story. We can see he's making some squiggles already. I hope that's on paper and not on the wall, or maybe it's washable. We'll find out. And you can see down here we've got the names, Andrew Larson and Mike Lowry. So they must be the authors of this book, Andrew Larson and Mike Lowry. Thank you, guys. So let's see what our friend gets into. My sister loves to read big words and little words, page after page, word after word. My sister loves to write big words and little words, page after page, word after word. So you can see his sister, she's surrounded by books. She's even got a couple books open at the same time. She's got many papers over here with tons of writing already on it. So she really does love to read and write. Sometimes I pretend I can write too. Big letters and little letters, swirl after swirl, squiggle after squiggle. Look at him. And he does have some real letters in his writing, right? So he's well on his way to being a fantastic writer, and he's getting all this amazing practice. In fact, I'm looking at what he's drawing on right now. This is called an easel. This is just like this little easel that I have. I have a much smaller version of what he has, but a little easel to do your work on. You hang paper up on it and you can write vertically. So that's perfect. I love how much work he's doing to become a great writer, right? He's really putting a lot of work into it. What are you doing? I asked one day while we were sitting at the kitchen table. I'm writing a story. I wish I could write a story. You can. It's easy. How? I know my letters, but I don't know many words. Write what you know. Every story starts with a single word, and every word starts with a single letter. Why don't you start there with a letter? That sounds like some great advice from his sister. She said, it doesn't matter how much you know. You're not trying to show off. You're just trying to write your story. Start with what you already know, right? So I get my crayons and my pencils and a pad of paper and I start to write. I start with a single letter. It's an easy letter. I. That's me. You can see he's saying, that's me. That's a good beginning. Now what's gonna happen? How should I know? It's your story. You're the boss. So his sister looks like she's really encouraging him, right? She really wants him to write a story he likes and he enjoys. She's saying it's all up to you, right? What you want to write about, what will happen. I what? I'm stuck. What happens in my story? I draw a circle. It's a soccer ball. Then I write another letter. It's you, I say to my sister. I'm playing soccer with you. Great. Where are we playing soccer? Maybe we're playing on the beach, I suggest. We've never played soccer on the beach. So I do a bunch of dots for the sand on the beach, dot, dot, dot. Then I make a bunch of V's, big V's and little V's, wave after wave in the ocean. So he's doing something really, really amazing with his writing right now. He's using some of the letters he knows, but he's also adding in some pictures. These like represent things, right? He said this is a soccer ball. The dots are the sand. These are the waves in the ocean. So he's kind of mixing languages, mixing English language and mixing language that uses just pictures to communicate. Now what? Well, what do you mean? You have a beginning. Now we're in the middle of the story. Something else has to happen so we can get to the end. Wow, his sister has a lot of good writing advice. It sounds like she's been in school for at least a year or two, right? She knows a lot and she's being so helpful and kind. I love that. I'm stuck again. I start doodling. I doodle another V, but this time I doodle it upside down. Oh no, it's a shark. It's getting closer and closer. So you can see, here's his writing, here's his story, and you can see that's the shark's fin, just like his fin sticking out of the water, right? So he's being really creative with how he's using letters and pictures to come up with his story. Oops, there we go. The next day, I bring my story to school. It's my turn for show and tell. That means I get to sit in Mrs. Singh's chair. Everyone else sits on the carpet ready to listen. Here's Miss Singh. Here's Miss Singh's chair. Last night, I started to write a story. It's sort of squiggly, but here it goes. So you can see he gets to sit in the teacher's chair because he's sharing today, and his classmates are all sat on the rug ready to listen to him, ready to listen to his story. Once upon a time, there was a brother and a sister, and they loved to play soccer. So here's his writing. This is what his writing looks like, and this is the story he's telling for it. So he and his sister, I and you, playing soccer. One day they had an idea. They decided to play soccer on the beach. So they went to the beach and played soccer. So here's his beach. Remember he said the dots are sand. These V's are the different waves, some big waves, some small. Then they noticed something coming toward them in the water. Ruh-roh, there's the shark's fin. It was a shark, a real live shark. It was getting closer and closer, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And that's as far as I got. That's wonderful, says Miss Singh. What happens next? What about the shark? What about the brother and sister? I don't know. I'm stuck. Class, does anyone have an idea? Jake waves his hand. I do. Maybe one of the kids kicks the ball and it hits the shark in the head. Then maybe the shark bites the ball with his big pointy shark teeth. You can see the shark. He said, ow. And then the shark is saying, I'm going to break this ball because he hit me in the head with it, right? Aaliyah offers another idea. What if the shark's name is Squiggles? What if Squiggles is a vampire shark? What if she invites the brother and the sister to ride on her back? And what if they become a vampire family and live forever? Vampires can't swim. Everyone knows that. Of course they can swim. Vampires can do anything. But it's my story, and I don't want vampires in my story. If I was writing a story, I'd have lots of vampires. Then you should write one. But I like yours. So you can see him and Aaliyah, they're going back and forth. Aaliyah is like, make a vampire shark. That sounds awesome. And they would live forever, and it would be great. And he's saying, no. It's my story, and I don't think I'm going to have vampires, but you can write your own story, and you can have vampires. That night after dinner, I sit down beside my sister. Her face is buried in a book. I've been thinking about my story all day, and I still don't know how to end it. Remember, you're the author, she says, without looking up. You can do whatever you want. Sister seems like such a good source for advice, huh? So I get my pencil and I start with a bunch of stars. And then I add a few exclamation marks. My sister told me exclamation marks makes things exciting. She's right, it is exciting. I add a couple of slanty lines. What's going on? Asks my sister, looking up from her book. Excuse me. It's nighttime. The stars are out. The shark has gone away, and we decide to take a walk on the beach. That's when we discover this giant rocket ship. That sounds cool. Then what happens? So you can see, he said, I'm making a bunch of stars to show that it's nighttime outside. He's using exclamation points because something exciting is happening. Something is exciting. They found a rocket ship. We hear a voice. It's counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Not yet, I say, adding one more squiggle. Just before the rocket blasts off, we spy a Martian looking out through a window. The Martian invites us to climb aboard. That's a great ending. Now I have an idea for my next story. It's going to be about a boy who climbs aboard a rocket ship and takes a trip to Mars. And I think I know how to begin. And here is our last illustration, our last page of our story. It's him going in the rocket ship he made. And look, he's saying, I am here. That's the at sign. Like, I am at this place. I'm in this rocket. That was amazing, wasn't it? He figured out how to write a story when he only knew a couple of letters. That's so impressive to me that he was able to think of that all by himself, right? So he was our main character, right? We talk about the characters. Those are the people, animals, or creatures in a story. So he was our main character, wasn't he? He, and I would say his sister was definitely another character in the story. She gave so much great advice that without her, I don't know if he would have made it to the end of his story, right? But she really helped him out a lot. She was a great older sister. And I'm glad he had her there to help her with that process, right? So those were our characters of our squiggly story read aloud. That was beautiful. I love reading that to my students who are learning how to write themselves because it shows. You guys don't need to know every single theme to be able to tell me a story. And I want to hear all your stories. So just put in your best effort and think of a way you can show what you're trying to say. Just like our friend did in our story we just read, the squiggly story. So now that we've gotten through our reading aloud, it is time to do some drawing stuff for today. So we always like to talk about our tripod grip when we're going to be going into our writing and our drawing activities. It's how we hold our writing utensil. So just as a little warm-up I like to do before we start drawing is to do this finger workout, and it's pretty simple. All you need to do is touch your thumb to each of your fingertips. So your pointer finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, your pinky finger. And you can do this multiple times. You can try to go fast. I can't go that fast, but that's why we practice. Maybe try to reverse it, right? So, and try it on your other hand also. It's a good hand workout so your hands are ready to hold your writing utensils and become great writers. So our tripod grip, let me come onto full screen for a moment so I can show you. I like to show you guys this every day. So I know if you've been watching our previous videos, you probably know what we're talking about, but it's so important. We're going to keep talking about that tripod grip. So for your tripod grip, get out your writing utensil. It could be a crayon, it could be a marker, it could be a colored pencil, whatever you have available. It could be a piece of chalk. Take out your writing utensil. Now you're going to pinch with your thumb and your pointer finger. You're going to pinch the bottom end of that writing utensil, the bottom end of it. You're going to pinch with your pointer and your thumb. You're going to take your middle finger and let that marker rest right on your middle finger. So by the time we're done, you have 3 fingers on that writing utensil, right? You're pinching with your pointer and your thumb, and you let your middle finger rest. Perfect. So that is our tripod grip that we'll be talking about while we are doing our drawing activities for today. So let me get my screen shared back with you guys so we can see what we're drawing today with our tripod grip. We're going to review our horizontal and vertical lines, and we are going to get some more practice with our circles today. So if you remember our vertical lines we talked about first, vertical lines are up and down, top to bottom. Our horizontal lines, they are side to side like this, side to side, horizontal. Excuse me. So today, earlier I asked you to find some paper, something to write with, and maybe something to secure your paper so it will be hanging. Now is the time to get all that stuff out. Get out your paper, get out your writing utensil. I'm going to hang up my piece of paper right now. I suggest you do the same. If you need to pause the video because you need a little extra time to get set up, feel free to do that as well. So I am going to be taking just a very small piece of tape from my roll of tape, a very small piece of tape, and I will be putting it in the center of my paper. It's halfway on my paper and halfway off. And I'm just gonna hang that on my easel like we talked about earlier, just like he was using in the story for his drawings, right? So there's my easel, and I just had my pen. Here we go. Here is my writing utensil for today. So let me come full screen for just a moment while we review. You can see my easel well, I think. So we're going to review our vertical line first. Let's go over our vertical. Remember, that's the up and down line. So let's all practice let's make 3 vertical lines. That means 3 lines up and down. They can be super long, down your whole page. It can be really tiny little vertical line, a very short one. It's up to you, but let's make 3 vertical lines. So here's mine. 1. Remember, you start at the top and you move your way down when you're making vertical lines. Here's 2 and 3. So there are my 3 vertical lines, up and down lines, vertical. And then we've also been working on our horizontal lines. Those are the ones that go side to side. So let's practice making some more horizontal lines, side to side. We're going to start at the left. We always start on our left and move our way right. Okay, so let's start left and move our way right. So there's one horizontal line. Let's each on our papers make 3 horizontal lines using that same tripod grip with your hands, right? So I have 1, 2, and 3. I made 2 big ones and 1 little one, 1 shorter one, right? So there's our vertical and our horizontal lines. Feel free to pause the video here if you would like some more time to draw just those 2 kinds of lines and get some practice. See what kind of images you can make just using those 2 kinds of lines. You do get quite creative, and we have a lot of options of what we can make just using horizontal lines and vertical lines. Oh, I had that backwards, I'm sorry. Vertical lines, horizontal lines. And our other shape we're working on today is circles. So I do have another worksheet we're going to use for some practice with the circles, but we should also take a second to draw it freehand while we're here. So circles, we are going to start at the top of your circle, and you're going to move left and down. And then come, oops, my paper keeps moving, come up and around. Here's a circle. So we remember we start at the top. Let's each make 3 circles on our paper. Start at the top, move your way over, down, and around. There's 2. To my left. There's 3. 3 circles. Beautiful. So same thing, if you want some more time to work on your circles, please feel free to pause the video there, definitely. I do, like I said, I have some more circle practice. Let me put my screen back up here for you guys. Here we are, some more circle practice. I'll move my picture out of the way. So again, if you would like to screenshot this page so that you can print it out and draw on it, or if you would just like to trace it with your finger like we have been. So remember, you're not touching the computer screen, you're just hovering over it. So we're gonna, just like the activities we have done other days with our tracing, you start at the star and follow the arrow all the way to the left and all the way around. Start at the star and follow the arrow all the way around. So I know snowmen are a little bit out of season for us right now, but especially here in Arizona, I never have made a snowman or seen a snowman, but it's nice to dream, right? It's nice to imagine them. So let's help build all 5 of these snowmen together. Like I said, trace it on your screen, screenshot it with these instructions in the top left of the corner if you would like to print it out, or you can edit the photo and draw on it on your device as well. So that is our more more practice with circles, feel free to pause the video here if you want more time to trace them with your fingers. By all means, please take your time to do that. We also have some activities to do at home. So these two activities to do at home, the previous activities I've given in other days and in week 1 have been activities students can do all by themselves. These activities I wanted to give some that students can do with family members, anybody that's home. These are 2 different options. Our first one is there are 2 people playing. Someone is in the kitchen and they will make 3 noises using 3 different objects they can find in the kitchen. The second person has to guess what objects are they using to make those noises. You have to figure it out. What objects are making those 3 sounds? So you can repeat this quite a few times, play it as many times as you want. It's pretty exciting to see what you can find in your own kitchen and what makes cool sounds and what surprises you the most. So like I said, this is at least 2 people in your kitchen. You can do it in other rooms definitely, but the kitchen tends to have a lot of interesting stuff that makes some cool noises. So if you want an extra challenge, try closing your eyes while you're listening to the sounds and see if you can still guess with your eyes closed what the sounds are coming from. So that's our first option. Our second activity I have today to do at home is somebody reading a story to the child, to the student, and choose a short sentence from this story. A sentence preferably less than 5 words, keep it short, and say the sentence out loud. And as you say the sentence, count the number of words on your fingers. And then have the child do the same. Say the sentence and count the number of words in the sentence. And you can do this with as many different sentences as you want. It's great because you can use any book you want as well. So these are just 2 activities you can do at home with other people. Like I said, if you want some activities for a child just to do alone, to stimulate some of those muscles we'll use for reading and writing and later context. Our videos from week 1 of kindergarten ELA have plenty of activities that can be done solo as well. So please check those out. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This has been week 2, day 1 of Sun Devil Learning Labs kindergarten ELA. It has been great working with you guys. I'll be back here for week 2, day 2. Hopefully you join in with us for that episode as well. It's been a real pleasure, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Be safe.